What's up, guys? Patty's Food Reviews. Tonight we're doing a classic movie from 1995 called Surviving the Game. This movie stars Gary Busey, Ice-T, and Rutger Hauer, and one of the evil guys from Scarface, and the Amadeus guy. He actually has scars on his face. He was in Scarface. They're in this movie. The movie is about, I'll clear this up, it's about a team of hunters that hunt bums. They hunt bums, like athletic bums, though. Like, they always scout out their prey on the streets. So, basically, the movie starts with Ice-T, like, waking up on the streets, and he just goes about his bum day. There's funny stuff that happens. I can't recall everything. But he has a sidekick who's an old man, like a Vietnam veteran or something. And Ice-T and him make a good team, and they have, like, cool moments where they're dumpster diving for food. And the old man finds food, and it's all wet, and Ice-T's like, don't eat it, it's wet food. Like, he's giving him bum tips, even though he's a vet. It is very funny, buddy action. But Ice-T's like, I know where to find the good food. This is how the movie starts out, like how they get into it. And he's like, I know this French restaurant that has gates that close. We can just climb over the gate and get some nice baguettes or something. And they start going into the trash, and they find all this good food. And the old man stays on the other side, and he gets beat up by a racist, or not a prejudiced security guard against bums, and he starts beating up the old man, and then Ice-T climbs over the fence, and Ice-T is a pacifist in this movie, which doesn't make sense, because he's supposed to be, like, I don't know, like a badass, but he's not, which is interesting. He, like, disarms the guy with the security guard with the nightstick, and threatens to hit the security guard with the nightstick. It doesn't hit him. That's one of his gimmicks. Never, like, committing, like, physical violence. Just, you know, playing tricks on people is his gimmick. So, cut to, like, they showed somebody, I think it was Rutger Hauer, in the distance watching this whole scenario go down, and they were like, he could make a good contestant on our little sick game show. So, they already know about Ice-T. He gets recruited by another security guard or something, or a cop. And takes him to meet Rutger Hauer. Ice-T's character is very funny in this movie. He is illiterate, and he's not smart at all. I don't know what they were trying. They never thought about how that would work out as, like, your main character being unrelatable. Because, you know, I don't know, you'd think that, like, he'd be playing, I don't know. He sees a treadmill, and he goes, what? I'll get on that thing and run. I'll run as fast as I can, because he didn't know what it was called, running machine. So then, let's see. Yeah, he recruits him and gets him a hotel, and he takes his bath, and the bath water turns brown because he's so dirty. And me and my friends that were watching this movie, we were watching it, and we saw Ice Cube. And it turns out Ice Cube has no ass, and he also has, like, a fat, skinny, you know, like, minimal muscles. And we said, he has a white man's body. And I think that rings true. Ice-T has a white man's body. The no ass and, you know, the not super tight muscle. Oh, this is getting weird. Okay, so after that, he meets the crew, and this is when Gary Busey comes in. I mean, we were fucking almost... I was pretty much cheering when this is going on, but Gary Busey shows up, because he steals the show right away. One of my friends pointed out that the cabin they were in looked very cheap and small, like nothing we remembered. It just, like, when you think back on movies you saw when you were a little kid... Like, you have a certain memory of them, like, and they seemed a lot bigger, but when you go back to it, it's like, it was a very low-budget movie, and this doesn't take away from it, but it was just very odd to see this movie again so many years later. But yeah, very cheap set, but it didn't matter. There was some funny shit going on here. They have him at dinner, and they're like implying all like hunting and killing, and they bring out a pig, and the Gary Busey says, "You got to look in the eye of the pig to consume his soul while you're eating this meat." You know, and Gary Busey is like awesome at this dinner, and Busey tells this really cool story that really didn't fit in, and it was probably just improv because Gary Busey is so badass. They were sitting at the dinner table, and they give Ice-T a bunch of beers. I think it was beers. He was drinking wine or something, or maybe beers. He had a bunch of those, and him and Gary Busey were chilling out, just rambling. And Gary Busey told him a story about how his father made him turn into a man by murdering his dog that he raised from when he was 5 until he was like, you know, the dog was like 6 years old. He's like, okay, that's man's best friend, son. You gotta kill man's best friend. And Gary Busey's one of his I strangled him. And Scarface's kid is looking at him like, this is so crazy. This kid is so stupid in the movie too. But Ice-T's listening to the story like, oh my god. And Gary Busey says, I choked him and there was blood all over me. And I saw a look of what is it? Respect from my father, and I licked my hand. He licked his murdering dog hand. It was definitely Gary Busey improv, but anyways, the hunt starts the next day unannounced. They awaken Ice Cube and they said, come on out here. And they make him start running around the forest. And there's some stuff that happens. I'll wrap it up, but though it sucks, like within, I'm probably exaggerating this, you guys will know. Within probably 20, 30 minutes of the movie, Ice-T runs back to the cabin and gets in a fight with Gary Busey and the guys, but mostly with Busey. They're like doing karate moves against each other, even though there's nothing that suggests that Ice Cube knows how to fight in this movie. He's very clumsy, but he beats up Gary Busey. I think he high kicks him through a window, and the cabin's on fire too, and Ice-T runs away again, and then the friends are in front, and Gary Busey just burns in there. They just leave him in there. They say, hey, where's Gary Busey? They said, it's too late now. We have to move on. And he'd like, they should have just put in like sounds of him screaming as they left. But a couple more tricks happen. Ice-T does some funny shit. Gary Busey gave him Dunhills, so he posts Dunhills everywhere in the forest to confuse them and fucks them up. And he really doesn't kill anybody. He just like puts them in situations where they die. The kid falls off something. I forgot what happened to the other guy, but he dies too. Maybe Rutger Hauer killed him, but really fun. One more thing about Rutger Hauer and Scarface's relationship, and Rutger Hauer. He put, they were talking about how to find Ice-T, and he put an Altoid in Scarface's mouth, like with one finger. He's like, here, buddy. And they both started laughing, and we started laughing like crazy because it was the weirdest shit. And also, Rutger Hauer tickles Scarface's son with a turkey feather. I don't know. That was very weird and unexplained, but Rutger Hauer was weird. Rutger Hauer meets his demise by another funny trick by Ice-T. The Dunhills that Gary Busey gave him, he uses Rutger Hauer's knowledge against him because he told him about jammed guns early in the movie. So Ice-T does this thing again where he beats up Rutger Hauer, who's trying to run from the law and hide. He jams a Dunhill in the chamber of the 45, and it explodes in Rutger Hauer's face after Ice-T throws the gun down as they're running away. Hilarious. Great ending, because it showed the Dunhill jammed in. It like did a virtual 90s thing, and it showed the label of Dunhill. Gun exploded. Guys, Really good movie. I was actually going to go crazy and give this like an outrageous rating, but the thing that brought it down, Gary Busey being killed in the way he did, he didn't have a lot of time to film this movie, we were thinking. So he only had a day or two to get all the footage in. But even without the Gary Busey, very good movie. This one is getting 3... It's 3 stars. It's 3. I wanted it to be more. It would have been if Gary Busey was in it. 3 stars. Surviving the game. Turns out Ice-T survived the game. Have a great night, guys.